Hello, everybody. Hey, this is Scott Moyes, the Smart REI, and I'm, as you can see, I'm at home today, and I have a very special guest and friend that I would like to introduce to you. Those of you that have not met Pete Asmus yet, he is kind of referred to as the pit bull in real estate, and we all love him for that. He's also the author of Force Your Dreams into Reality, and also the host of the Bloomberg radio show,
Investing Coast to Coast.
Self-Directed Investor, which is awesome. Founder of Coast to Coast REI. Some of you have had the pleasure of meeting Pete at our local RIA out here in Utah. Pete is coming back here this next Saturday, April 25th, for an all-day workshop that, guess what? It's absolutely free. You're going to love it. You need to attend. So what we're going to do is today we're just going to talk to Pete a little bit, give you a little bit of an idea of a preview of what you're going to learn on Saturday, why you should attend, and maybe a bonus or two for showing up. So, hey, Pete, welcome, buddy.
Thank you, man. I appreciate that. Yeah, we're going to have a lot of fun here. I don't know if it's switching back and forth here now or not as far as the control. Oh, you're doing the video. So is it switching back and forth?
Yes,
okay.
It is.
Perfect. Well, I'm excited about this Saturday, actually. I'm really excited. When we started talking about what we were going to do and how that was really going to work, I was talking with Jacob Ash, who's also coming out there with me. Jacob is the one who is on the ground that's making those calls at the auction, going to the auction steps. So I wanted to bring somebody that's in the middle of the action to this event as well. And here's what we're going to do. We just put out a book. I just penned it, right? They definitely helped with the input on everything that we were doing though. And we just wrote a book called Off Market an Undervalued Property Finder Blueprint. And you guys can go ahead and download that. We're going to go ahead and put the link in here. It'll be super easy. If you want to download it right now and you're just listening, you can go ahead and go to c2creia.com, and it's right there on the right. You can go ahead and hit it and download it and capture it. Now, the thing that's exciting about this is that book is kind of going to be the outline of what we're going to do on Saturday. I was
just going to mention that, Pete, that I highly recommend you download that now, print it out. It's only a few pages. Bring it out and use that as our text for the workshop.
It's going to be based a lot on that. In fact, there's exercises in there that we're going to go through. One of the things that I really wanted to do is a lot of times when you go to any kind of training, right, it's always somebody standing up at the front telling you, like looking down and telling you what to do, telling you what to think, telling you all of this. But nobody really focuses on you individually, right? It's almost like this, well, this will work for everybody, but it doesn't work for everybody. And so what we're going to do is something that I love to do when I do trainings, which is really involve the crowd. We're going to go through and we're going to meet all of you guys at this event, right? So if there's 100, we might have to start a little bit earlier, but the reality is I want everybody to say what they're interested in, what they're doing. I want you to use this event not only as a learning tool, as a catapulting tool, but also as a networking tool, right? Because the reality is the more people that you know, the more opportunities you're going to have access to. That's just a reality. So if people know what you do and what you're an expert at or what you enjoy doing, they're going to open up and ask you for things. For instance, if Scott loved to paint houses and he was really good at painting houses and was cheaper than anybody else in the area, less expensive than anybody else in the area, but Scott never told anybody that he was painting houses, how would we even know, right? And that type of thing, I promise you, happens at these events all the time. Somebody right next to you is looking for a service that you absolutely have and offer, and because they don't know that you do it, you don't get asked. That's the same thing.
Pete, I think that's one of the biggest problems in this business with people that are just starting out, or even people that have been around for a while. They wonder why they're limiting their success because they're not telling anybody what they do. They need to tell everybody what they do.
That's right. You want to tell them what you do, and then you want to tell them what you need. And I don't mean tell them what you need like as in, oh, I need a bunch of money for a deal, or I need a bunch of this. You need to come with specifics. Hey, look, guys, I have an opportunity with the property. Here are the numbers, and this is what I need to move this job, to move this project forward, right? Maybe it's you need an appraisal. Maybe it's you need a joint venture partner. Maybe you need to talk to Scott and he can work with you in order to do owner financing, right? That's something that another piece that we're going to be bringing to the table that I'm loving. Like, I literally want to be known as the turnkey king. I want to be known as the person you come to for all turnkey products, right? So I'm going to be working with Scott, which we kind of talked about a little bit, but I want to work with Scott to really build out this turnkey owner financing system, because I know that a lot of people that read my book are setting up appointments with me. Some of them have money to do things and some of them don't. And I think that Scott has a really good opportunity for some of the people that maybe don't have anything, because Scott never pays more than, how much did you say for a property?
$10.
$10, man. And if you don't have $10 in your pocket, holy cow, get off the webinar. There is no, you need to go out and start, I don't get a job, I guess, is if you don't have $10, you need to go out and create something, right? Because $10 isn't that much. So what we're going to be doing at the event is we're going to be really working with everybody, talking about what do they need, where are they going, what do they want to do, and really working with you guys to create a real solution. And in addition to that, I want to do a workshop. The reason I called it a workshop is because I want it to be engaging, meaning I want to break off in groups and we're going to do role playing, right? Because a lot of you guys are scared to get out there and make contact with a buyer, with the seller, with whatever. So we're going to do that. We're going to do it right there. I'm going to make you do it. Because then if you do it and you're being forced to, it's like, well, okay, I have to call because he's telling me to call. So I'm going to call just to prove you wrong and that I can't do it. And then you dial and you make the call and, hey, what, sir, are you selling that house? Okay. And then you work through it and you're like, man, okay, well, that wasn't scary. And you had all these people around supporting you through that process. Now, next time, you know that, look, the worst they can say is no. You've already had that. So now you're searching for the yes, right? And here's another fact. It takes an X number as in algebra, right? So X is a variable. It takes X number of no's to get a yes. The question is, how many no's does it take you? If you haven't got a yes, you don't know that number yet, right?
True.
Wouldn't you agree with that?
Absolutely. I get asked about numbers all the time. In fact, I addressed it the other day in one of the trainings with some of my students, is they go, well, how long does it take? I mean, that's like a kid knocking at the bathroom door and saying, Daddy, how long are you going to be in there? Well, I don't know, however long it takes, right?
Hey, I'll be done when I'm done.
I'm done when I'm done.
I'm done when I'm done. So what we're going to do with this workshop is we're really going to kind of work through different things that we see. We're going to go into the 3 top ways that I've found to find undervalued properties, right? Meaning we're going to talk about bandit signs. We're going to talk about yellow letters, and then we're going to talk about the auctions. When we talk about bandit signs and yellow letters, we're going to talk about the negotiation process. Even that even really kind of holds true with what Scott does too. It doesn't really matter. And maybe we'll throw a little bit of what Scott's doing into this as well, right? So we have 3 options for you when it comes to without an auction, right? I like the auction because the auction to me takes a lot of the mess out of it. It takes the owner out of it. And a lot of times we can help. And we're going to go into that kind of thing too and how the auctions work. But I want you guys to leave the training with actionable information. I want you to be able to leave the training with something that you can move forward doing. If you have nothing, no money, I want you to have an option leaving. That when you leave, there's something you can do to now generate money. Now, does that mean it's going to happen immediately? No, that's not what I'm saying. I'm telling you, I'm going to give you a tool that you're going to have to go out and utilize, and you're going to have to hone it. Look, we all go through the challenges of defeat. We all go through failure. We all get told no, but we all have to go through that separate journey by ourselves. The reality is, Scott, there's only so much trainers or educators or anything else can do for you, because if you don't do it yourself, you're never going to understand what it takes, period. There's something for the experience factor. You have to get out and go make something happen. You have to get out and engage in life. You have to become the starring role of your life and stop being a supporting role, right? And what I mean by that is you have to stop supporting everybody else's dreams and start being the role player in your own. If you work for other people, great. Do a great job. You're your own brand. But work on being able to really define yourself and what you want. If you want to work for other people, then great. Be the best that you can be. But if you really want to be an entrepreneur, look, it's going to take probably twice as many hours as it does working for somebody else. Because here's the reality. If you looked at a big, long, let's say a square mile, right? In California, there's a thing called the Mile Square Park, and it's literally a square mile. Well, let's pretend for a second that that square mile had 5 feet of grass on it, 5 feet up all the way. Every inch of that whole entire square mile patch has 5 feet of grass up on it, right? Now, if we needed to get to the other side, well, somebody's going to have to blaze a trail. Somebody's going to have to kick down all of that grass. Somebody's going to have to take out a machete and cut it all down, right? And really, I think life is like this. Life is the reality of when we look at that big wall of grass, some of us look for somebody that's already kicked down a path. That's a job. That's somebody else that's already done the work, and now you're going to pay a toll. If you work for somebody else, you're never going to get your true value because they have to leverage off of you, which means they have to give you less than you're worth so they can make that spread. It's the same thing as real estate. So if you want more out of your life, you've got to become more valuable. You've got to see the value within you and start creating opportunities for yourself. You've got to go out and make things happen. You've got to get experience. You've got to fall and get back up and fall and get back up and fall and get back up. The reality is success is littered with failures. It just is. There's so many ways that we can go. And if, the other part about life is it's kind of like the gym, right? If you ever go to a gym, you'll see some people just walk on a treadmill forever. That's all they do. They get on a treadmill and they walk for hours. And some of you, that's what you're doing with your life. You're just walking, you're gliding through, you're just coasting. And then other people engage, they get in there, they push the weights, they want change. They want to significantly change their life and they're willing to do the work. See, most of us, we want something different, but we're not willing to do the work to get the result. Why? Well, there's a multitude of reasons. Some of us, we focus on what the problems are, what the challenges are, what the work is going to take. Why is it you have some people run to a gym, excited to lift weights, to go out and break down muscles and really just completely tear their bodies apart? And they are jacked up and excited about it. And then some people, it's like literally you've got to hit them with the tranquilizer to drag them into the gym. And all of a sudden they wake up and you're like, you will not get out of here until you do all of the exercises required. And that's like the only way you're going to get them to do it, right? Well, why is that? Do they both want the result at the end? If both of them put in the work and they got the results and they were in shape, thin, whatever it is that they wanted out of life, right? If they got those results, is that really what they both want? Yes. Well, why is it that one is terrified and running the other direction and one is running towards it as fast as humanly possible? It's all in the way they look at the work. It's in the way that they look at the challenge. Some of us look at the life and look at life. We look at the problems, we look at the challenges, and we run towards them. And we're like, man, I'm going to bust through this. I'm going to break it down. And I am the number one. I am better than anybody at doing what I do, right? Not meaning it in a, I got goosebumps, but not meaning it in slamming other people, but lifting yourself up. Look, I don't have to tear anybody else down to tell myself that I'm better than anybody at what I do. Nobody. I don't have to, because I'm not competing with anybody else. I'm only competing with me. So when I say I'm better than anyone else, I'm literally saying I'm better than all of the past me. All of the past me's. All the past me's. Yeah. I'm telling you guys, not that I'm better than you, but that I'm better than me. And I'm going to strive every day to be the very best me I can be. See, I can't be a great Scott Moyes because I'm not Scott Moyes. I don't have Scott Moyes' experiences. I don't have his past. I don't have any of the relationships that he has either. So for me to compare myself with where he is, that's crazy. Just as crazy as it is for you guys to compare yourself where he is. You can't compare your chapter 1 to his chapter 15. It's not fair. You've got more writing to do. You've got more work to do. If you want to be at chapter 15, get to writing. Get to creating your story, right? Get down to doing the work that it takes to get to chapter 15. Stop thinking that you're going to be able to just jump ahead, that you can skip ahead. This isn't a Cliff Notes. If you want Cliff Notes, you're going to end up in welfare. That's where the Cliff Notes happen, where all of a sudden it's not fair and I'm going to blame everybody else for why I am where I am. I'm not going to take responsibility because it's not my fault. It's everybody else's fault. And I wish, they would take care of me and this person and that person. And let me tell you, it doesn't matter how successful you become. You're always going to have challenges. You're always going to have problems. You're always going to keep failing until you succeed. The real success is just succeeding more than you fail. That's it.
You know what I found, Pete? I found that the more successful you are, the more challenges you do have. And it's all those challenges that help you to become more successful. And it eventually you just learn how to handle those challenges and get by them and turn them into positives.
I was talking to Mike Hambright yesterday on Flip Nerd, and I had this really, really weird realization when I was talking to him. And it's about just exactly what you said, that we have to go on our own journey. The reason is because we have to deal with the challenges that we personally need to overcome to be able to deal with the next set of circumstances. When people go, oh my God, if I was living your life, I'd be so overwhelmed. Well, yeah, I didn't just walk into what I'm doing though, right? It was a slow progression. The same thing as it is with life. You can't run $1 million company if you've never run a company at all. Like to say, well, if I was in charge, I'd know what I was. No, you wouldn't. You wouldn't have a clue, man. And you would be so stressed out from all these people that you're now responsible for their livelihood. You're responsible for their children. Because that's how you're going to feel when you're running that big of a company, right? But people don't think about that. They just think, oh, well, that guy's got a jet and he's got this and he's got that. Man, his life is just cake. And it isn't. It isn't cake. There's a lot of responsibility, but you work towards that. When I was talking to Mike yesterday, I was talking about the fact that, man, I can't believe all this jacked up stuff that's happened in my life, from me being homeless when I was 16, living on top of alpha beta, stealing for food, right? And as I'm saying this and I'm talking through it, I'm like, it was just crazy. And then I thought about my son getting cancer. And I realized that me being homeless and me growing up in a group home system and me seeing what happens to other kids, and that it changed the way I looked at things. And the scary part was, I remember with my son's mom, she had shaved her head one time. And I mean, it was a really weird thing that happened. I remember I mean, this is really peeling back an onion right now, but I remember thinking, man, you just look ugly. Why would you shave your head? Why would you do that? Like, why would you do that? You look like a guy. And I was so mean with the way that I thought, right? And in the way that I treated her. And I'm full on being completely honest here. Like, it was bad. And then my first daughter at 6 years old, loses all her hair. And she's bald forever.
Wow.
And that, like, you look back and you're like, holy crap. But not that what I did was right, because it wasn't, but that's what showed me what people could think of her. And all these challenges that I had to deal with as I was growing up and as I was getting older, they prepared me for situations that I'm now dealing in, right? And so for me to know how people would view her or feel about her, and I'm not saying that what I felt was right. Like, I don't think it's right. I don't feel like that anymore. But I'm just being honest with the way that I did feel, right? I'm just trying to be honest with my emotions, because I think a lot of people try and hide everything, and I don't want to be like that. So it was a real big, like, God just nailing me right in the face, going, now deal with this. And so I had to turn that and make it a great thing. And really, I had to learn how to really love my daughter. Not that I didn't love her, but I had to learn how to make it acceptable to other people as well, if that even makes sense. And I hope it does, because that's really what life ends up being about. All these things that you find that are challenging to you right now, they're preparing you to take it to the next level. You can't become bigger than you are until you've adapted to where you are, right? Nobody makes you a lieutenant. You don't get to go up in pay grade and go and get promotions until you know your job that you currently have. Life is exactly the same way. The worst thing anybody could do is give you $1 million off the bat. If you think about the lottery, those lottery winners, I don't think there's any one of them, and I won't say 100% because I don't know 100%, but I will say 95% of those lottery winners within 3 years, they're poor, they're broke, and they're worse off than they were before they won the money, because now their concept of how to make money is completely torched. They can't recreate that system. They can't recreate the $1 million because they'd have to win a lottery. It's by luck. So you don't want a handout. What you want is to create your wealth, because once you create it, you can recreate it. If you don't create it, you don't have that ability. That's why Scott and I, we keep telling you guys, experience, get out there, do it. Do something, because as you do it, as you experience it, as you create it, you can then recreate it. And I know that I'm going long, but so we're going to be talking about that kind of stuff. We're going to be talking about how to change your life and really catapult it to that next level through real estate as a tool, right? Real estate is the
Pete,
tool.
our good friend, of course, my good friend and mentor and business partner, Steve Down, has a saying that wealth is not earned. Wealth is created. You can't just go out and earn wealth.
Right.
You've got to do things to create that wealth. And you can learn some things by my mistakes, by Pete's mistakes and other people's mistakes. But until you make those mistakes yourself, you really aren't going to understand how to get around, get through, or get by that to get yourself to the next level of you. How was that transition there? That was pretty good.
Well, here's the thing is I agree with everything you just said. What we do is by us sharing with you the challenges we've had, we are giving you the tools to utilize when you're in that situation. You don't get to avoid the situation, right? If I had a big toolbox, right? Scott, I have this big toolbox that I can work on cars with, and you come and I show you what to do when your tires go flat. And I show you how to change the tire. I guess I wouldn't need a big toolbox, but let's say I show you how to change the tire, right? Does that mean that you'll never get a flat tire now because I showed you how to change one?
Absolutely not.
No. So we're just showing you what to do when you're in the challenge, when you're in the situation. We're giving you the tools to overcome them, but we're not saying you're going to get to avoid anything, because the reality is you're going to go through your own challenges. Everybody does. Right?
Speaking of challenges there, Pete, I noticed in some of your bio and so on, you talk about this 21-day challenge. Tell us real briefly about that, and how are you going to be talking about that in the workshop on Saturday? And
yeah, I'm gonna go into that. Here's what I love about the 21-day challenge. They say it takes 45 days to form a habit. 21 days. I mean, there's all kinds of different views. Here's what I know. If you follow this challenge for 21 days, you're going to know a lot more about yourself, and you're going to bring a lot more people to you. When I started the challenge, it was all about writing down my goals every day, right? We focus on what we think about. If you write down your goals at night before you go to bed, you're literally through the nighttime working through how you're going to achieve those goals. It allows you to move to a red light, green light type of system that I call, where if you think and you write down 5 goals that you really want to accomplish, like, look, I want to wholesale a deal in 90 days. Maybe that's your goal, right? I want to wholesale a deal in 90 days. Well, you may have had that goal for the last year and a half. Well, why is it going to be different now? Well, let me ask you, if you wrote down, I wholesaled my first deal and made $3,000, I wholesaled, and you write that down every single day for the next 21 days, in 21 days, you will be closer to that goal, because what you will be doing is programming your brain to see that actually already have happened, right? And by writing it in that past tense type of way, when you're through the day, you're going to start getting sick of writing that goal down and not doing anything to move towards it. You're going to start going, man, this is like, I keep writing it down. That's what happened to me. I kept writing it down, and eventually by about day 5, I was like, all right, man, I got to do something to move towards this, because this is crazy. I just keep writing it down like it's going to happen, but I keep finding all these reasons not to do it during the day. And I started just doing like one thing a day to move towards the goal, whether that be call one person, whether that be, write down a yellow letter, whatever it was, it's doing one action a day to move towards that goal. All of a sudden, you're there. But it takes those little steps, and we want to avoid the little steps. We want to think that there's some big thing that we can do to accomplish it, and there isn't. It's all about a bunch of little things. And so writing down these goals every day, it keeps your mind focused on what you really, really want instead of what you think you want or what's convenient for the time. Does that make sense?
Absolutely. So let's tell them again. We're okay. So you're going to be in Salt Lake City this weekend, April 25th,
Yes.
Saturday, April 25th, doing this workshop absolutely free for our local RIA members and
Yep.
their guests.
That's
And
right.
that's going to be held at the Salt Lake Community College, the Miller Professional Development Center, I believe in room 213. We're going to start at 8:30. Please be there early. Now, let me tell you what, you have to register to be there.
That's right.
So at the end of this video and this webinar, there will either be a link, or in the email that you'll receive with the link to this webinar, there will also be a link to register. You need to go to Eventbrite and register to be there, so we know how many people are going to be there, so we can set up the table. So,
and when you do that, we will send you the book, right? So as soon as they register, they get sent the ebook.
And I think in the registration on Eventbrite, there is a link that will take them to download the book.
Okay.
So tell them what's the name of the book again, Pete?
The book is called Off Market and Undervalued Property Finder Blueprint. So it's all about how to find off market and undervalued properties. So
I urge you need to do that. Print that off. Bring that with you, because you're going to be putting notes in between the lines there.
That's right.
I guarantee you're going to enjoy it. And we'll. And how long are we going to go on Saturday?
It's probably going to be till about 3 or 4.
Okay, so not a long day.
So I get what's that?
Not a real long day.
No, I could go longer. That's for sure, man. I enjoy speaking. So what I thought was, if we ended about 4 o'clock, 4:30 maybe, if we end right about there, and then allow for Q&A, and then maybe go out to dinner afterwards, that would allow everybody to kind of after the day wrap up. We could go, we could eat, we could have fun, talk, and we'll stay till the crows come in. I mean, I have no problem staying out till 11 o'clock that night and hanging out with everybody and talking and creating something.
Yeah, well, our local group knows that I have no problem doing that either. So,
right.
When I originally formed the group, umpteen years ago, I immediately put on 50 pounds, because my deal was, if they took me to dinner, they could get me to say anything. So,
right. I love it, man. Well, we're gonna have fun. Make sure you come. Bring your friends. Bring anybody that you want to help change their life, because I promise you, we're gonna be giving you guys real tools to take away from. There's going to be actionable information that you're going to be able to take away to change your life. And it doesn't matter what they do, man. I promise this will be one of those types of events. That's the kind of speaker and the kind of engagement I want.
Awesome. Hey, Pete, thanks for joining me again this morning.
Thank you.
And putting up with all my little antics. And I can't wait for the rest of our members and group in Salt Lake City to meet you. And I think we'll call it right there, and we'll talk at you a little later.
Have a great day, man. Hey, Pete, and remember, go make something happen.
Absolutely.
All right.
See you later.
Bye.
Thanks, Pete.
You got it.